Um, so now I need to explain the query, right? Now here we say select name, product.name. Now one strange thing that you notice here is that something we did not do before, but that this kind of thing that we are doing calls for. I'm using the table name for each column I select. I preceded it with the table name. Did you notice that?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. So you could see that this indicates that name is coming from the product table, and sales order ID and unit price both are coming from the sales order details table. Now the reason is because this query is um is using two tables, and there is a possibility that there is a common column between the two tables, as we have seen with product ID and product ID. Now, if I did not try to distinguish one column, a common column coming from one table, from another common column coming from another table, there will be a problem. So I need to be able to tell SQL Server that this product ID here belongs to product. It is the one coming from the product table, and this one is the one coming from the sales order detail table. Okay, so that's why you see the column names being preceded with their product name. But there's a way we can reform this. Okay, so now let me now continue explanation. I'll come back to how we can reform that. So here we say from, after we selected the columns, we say from products, the schema as usual, and the product and the table name. Inner join, do inner join. Remember, inner join is used to select or to retrieve all only matching data from both tables. Both unmatching data from both tables are discarded. So inner join sales order detail, inner join sales order detail to product table. This is where we created that join. This is where we combined both tables. We selected columns from product table and the sales order detail table, and then we use the inner join statement to join both of them. Then we say we want to join both of them on a common column that they have the primary key from the product table and the foreign key from the sales order detail table. Join them. You see the equal to here? The equal to here indicate that join them where the product ID from the product table has the same data with product ID from the sales order detail table. And then we specified. So basically, this is how we do join. Is this clear?
Yes, it is. But where the specification that we did at the end, where product
The where
ID
clause.
equal to 707,
Mm-hmm.
we've not applied that, right?
It is. The query is applying it. You know, we already know that this is filtering. We are narrowing down the
Okay,
results.
yeah.
If I execute this, the result I would get will be much more than the result I would get if I execute it with the where clause. With the first one, I'm getting 121,000 317 rows. Now, if I execute it with the where clause, I'm going to get a much lesser result, 3083 rows, right?
But sorry, the product ID, that is is my understanding, sure. In the product
Just go on
ID
with your question.
section now, what we are
Mm.
supposed to be seeing are products with product ID 707, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
But I'm not, that's not what I'm seeing here. In the table
Uh,
below.
mm-hmm. You don't know,
So
you didn't
okay,
notice that we didn't select the product ID column. It's not part of the columns we
yeah,
selected.
yes, I just realized that now. Yes.
Mm.
So it does
Oh
not
yeah.
even have to show. It will just filter.
Yes, yes. It
Okay,
depends on what
okay,
you want to present. It doesn't
okay,
have to be there. Here we are using it to do our work.
okay, okay. I get it now. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Okay, so in that is the join statement. Now, earlier I spoke about being able to tell SQL Server that a column is coming from one table and the same column is coming from another table. Otherwise, there will be a problem. So I just want to show you that now. So if I do this, if I copy that query and I remove the product, the table name that I used to distinguish. Now, for these columns that are not the same, for these columns that are not, that don't uh, coincide in any way, name is actually different from sales order ID and unit. Both, we know that both columns here, these two columns are coming from the same table, and name is coming from another table. Now there is no problem here because the names are not the same. If I execute, it should work fine. Now, as soon as I go to the product ID here, this part, if I remove that table name and I remove the table name here, you see that there's already a problem. Because these two tables, these two columns have the same name. Now, SQL is finding it difficult to tell whether this one belongs to sales order detail table or it belongs to the product table. It doesn't know. We have to tell it,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yes.
and if you put your mouse pointer on that, it says ambiguous column name. It doesn't know where to get it from. So now the solution to that, one solution to that is what I showed you up there, to precede the column name with the table name.
The table.
Or we could use an alias. We could use an alias. So how do we use an alias for that? We'll give each table will have an alias. So here, production.product, I can give product an alias using the keyword as. Remember column alias that we treated last week using the as keyword. So I could say dot as p, product as p. I'm using the an acronym. Then sales order detail as SOP. The first letter of each word in the table name. Sales, S for sale, for S, for else in sales, O for O in order, P for D in no, D for D in detail. Now I can now use that acronym or that alias to qualify the product, the columns. So this will be P, that will be SOD. And this will also be SOD. And this will be P, and this will be SOD.
SOD.
And this would also be what?
Yep.
How would this be?
Product ID.
Yeah, P product. That's the table name is product, right? And I have given product an acronym of P. So that will be P. So it works fine if I execute. All right, so now let's look at the other join statements. Okay, let me copy that again. Copy that. Okay. So here I'm using in a join.
We should copy the first one.
Yes,
The
I
one
just
where we
copied it.
didn't use where we didn't use we didn't represent the table name with either P or SOD.
No.
Because
I
this
just
is a
copied.
complicated.
I just copied the
I
one
understand it, but
where
I just think it's unnecessarily complicated.
So this is the one I copied. This one where I used an alias. I just copied it because I want to leave it like that for reference
Okay.
purposes.
Okay.
Mhm. I could have edited it, but I just want to leave it for reference purposes. Okay, so here now let's look at the other join statements. So we've looked at inner join, and we see the result that it gives us. Okay, for the effect of inner join and left outer join to really show. Oh, okay, let's just go. If it doesn't show, I'm going to remove the where clause. So let's try left outer join first. Left. Now, remember I told you that outer is optional. So if I do it this way, if I run it this way, it will work. If I like, I can put the outer. So let me execute. I still get 3083 result, 83 rows. Okay. And let me make a copy of that and change it to right outer. Okay, because of the where clause, I still get the same result. Now I'm going to remove the where clause so that the results will show. Just remove the where clause. I'll execute that. So now I got 121,555 rows returned for left outer join. Okay, and now left outer join is giving me all the results from the left table. The left table is in this case is a product table, and the right table in this case is the sales order detail table. So it's giving me all matching and unmatching data from the left table and only matching data from the right table. Okay, so let me now run this one. And here I got 121,317. It's slightly lesser. It's slightly lesser data. So it's giving me all matching data from the right table, which is sales order detail, and only matching ones from the product table. Okay, is this clear, Mr. Rashid?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so let me copy that and now see full join, full outer join. Kill that, and you see we got 121,555. Okay,
Yeah. That's fine.
this is how what is it called now? Join
Join.
is made. So I believe this is clear.
Yes, it is. For the full join too, we don't have to put out it's optional for that one also.
It's optional for all of them.
Oh, okay. Okay. So basically what we use SQL for is in data analysis is for we don't use it for data presentation. We use it for the
Yeah.
analysis itself,
Yes, you don't
meaning
use SQL.
sorting.
SQL, you don't present. You don't do presentation in SQL. Data analysis. You analyze data. That's what you do.
Okay. Yeah.
So after you have analyzed your data, you have cleansed, you have transformed, you have done all sort of data analysis on the data. You can now export the data to maybe Tableau or any other or Excel to do visualization.
Okay. Yeah. It's fine.
There are more advanced things. So SQL is broad, is wide. There are more things to that you can use.
These are the basic, like the foundations that someone will build on.
Yes. There are more things. In fact, if time permits, there is another one called subqueries. The one we are going to talk about now is group by. There is another one called subqueries where it's in a way it's similar to join. It's similar to join in a way. Okay, so you can have a query in another query. So one query could actually be the result of one query could actually be uh, the input of another query. Oh, I don't know if you got my point.
Not really.
Have a query, you write a query. That query is going to
Okay.
give you a result.
Yes.
The result of that query would then be what the outer query would use as its own input. I hope. Oh, please hold on. I'll be back.
Okay.
Hello.
You're welcome. I'm here.
All right. So I was talking about subqueries. So I was saying that, okay, hold on, let me see. Okay, so let's see an example. Now let me write a join statement, as we are now familiar with join. So select from production dot products, okay, as p, then p dot name, okay, then inner join, or this I could also use join. I could just use ordinary join, and I could also use inner join. They are the same because inner join is the default. Now inner join products, production dot products, um no, what am I doing? I'm joining the same table, yeah. Okay, I'll just let me make this as p1 and yes, as p2. Okay, so on where they have products, p1 dot list price is equal to p2 dot list price, where p2 dot name is equal. Do I have that kind of product? Chain. Let's see. This is p1. Okay, let me run that and let's see. Okay,
But we are running from the same table.
what did he say?
The two P's are the same table.
Yes, it is also possible to do this. So I'm
Oh, okay.
actually doing the join on one table. So I'm saying select name from the first table. Only name is a column I'm retrieving from product, and join it with same product where the list price are equal. So do you know can you interpret this? What I'm doing is give me products that have the same price. Do you understand? All
Yes, I
products
do.
that have the same prices. In fact, let me put the list price column. Uh, P1 P1 dot list price. So if you look at this, you see that it's giving me the list, the products and the prices. So I'm getting the product for where all the products have the same prices. Okay. Now where name in the second table is equal to this. Now let's say, now do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
But do we have
Now
to
let me,
use the join query to get these results since it's on the same table?
yes, in a way it is needed. It depends on what you want to do, right?
Okay.
Remember that what we want to do here, what we are trying to do is get all products that have the same price. All the products that have the same price. You could do
Yeah.
this in another way, which is what I'm going to show you now. But you can't,
Okay.
without these two ways that I'm going to show you now, it will be difficult to do it in any other way. You understand my point?
Yes, I do. I do know. Yeah.
Okay, so now let's do with subqueries. Subqueries is more straightforward. It won't be really confusing. Let's do it with subqueries. So I will say select okay, list price. Let me actually get the table first. Select from production product. Okay, list price. Okay. Oops. Where name is equal to sharing box. Okay. So if I run this query, now it gives me a list price, right? It gives me a list price of this. It gives me a list price of 0.00. Now, what if I want to use this result for another query? That is what subquery is all about. Now I'll put this, I'll wrap this query in a parenthesis. Oops. I'll wrap it in a parenthesis. Okay. Let me remove the thing there. Okay. Now the result of that, I'll use it as an input for another query. So I'll say select name, select from production dot products. Not showing products. Okay. Name. All right. Where list price is equal to whatever the result is. Is Now let me now run the query. See that I got the same result. Rashid,
Yes.
is
Yes.
which one is more which one is clearer to you? Is it this one or the upper one? The one with join or the one with subqueries?
I think the subquery one is clear.
Yeah. So because this is what subquery is meant for. We are actually bending join. This is not what join is meant for, because when I did it, you told me that why was I using this on one table, right? Because join
Yes.
is meant to join two or more tables. So I
Yeah.
did that, to show you, to give you a perspective before I do the subquery.
Oh, okay. I get it
So
now.
so I'm selecting, I'm doing some selects here. Select list price from the product table where name is this, and it gave me that result of the list price. It gave me a result, one row, a column with one row of 0.0. And then I said 0. It will be 0.0. It is as if I'm saying, now this upper one, it is as if I'm saying select name from product ID where list price is 0.00. If I take this out, I will get the
Yes.
same result.
Yeah. Yes.
Understand?
Yes.
So that is subqueries. One query becomes an input for another query. So I encourage you to learn more on this.
And thanks to AI now, you can ask for
What?
the query. I said thanks to AI now.
Yes, AI can give you all the queries.
All
If
the
you
queries are
consult ChatGPT, ChatGPT can help you a bunch. Okay, so now let's look at group by. So as the name implies, we can do grouping. And do grouping if we have a result. Okay, we can group. We can create a group. Say something like you have a result, and um, several columns are rows rather. Rows are repeating. Okay, you have rows, the same rows repeating so many times. Now group by lets you um, compress those repeating rows into one, and then use just one column, one row rather, to represent all of those rows that you have collapsed into one. So thereby creating a group representing all of them. Is this, do you understand?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, let's talk about group by. Select statements. A Okay, so that is what group by is. So select statement clause. Select statement clause that divides the query results into groups of rows, usually by performing one or more aggregations on each group. Okay, so let's see an example. So let me use the sales order detail table. Select from sales order detail, sales order ID, line total. Okay, so if I execute that, let me see the results. Now look at the result that we get. So here you notice that these columns, these rows, sales order ID, because how do I put that now? Because we have had different order, right, on each product. So it is recorded. The order is recorded several times. See the same order, the same order, the same order recorded several times. 4365659 has this line, this total amount. Same another same or another order with the same ID, you know, as that total amount, and so on. So uh we have this order recurring or repeating several times. So with group by, we could one order, right? This is an ID for the same order. I hope I am correct with what I'm the statement I'm using right now. This is an order ID, right? So this ID represents the particular order that was made, but the order has different total. That's a little bit confusing. It's confusing me. The line total is actually the one confusing me here.
Okay, what is what you're trying to say? I'm not sure if I'm correct or I'm just asking the question. This line total column shows the total number of rows in that particular for that particular total number of cells. Let me use cells now. In
Yeah,
this
that's
for this that is in this row, in the row for this particular order in front of it.
mm, yes. Total line total is the total amount of that order that was made on that order together.
Okay. Okay.
The total amount that we sold that product for. So if we go back to look at the table, let's look at the entire table. So here we have sales order ID, sales order detail ID, unit price for each order. So, oops, that's a serious problem. I'm running out of battery. Let me quickly turn on my gen, please. Hello.
Yes, welcome back. Oh.
All right. Thank you. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, so when I executed that query, now I have the sales order ID, the ID representing each sale, and the quantity that was uh, ordered, the ID, the product ID, the price for each order, and then the total amount, right? So a place where you see a quantity of 3, you see that that unit price is multiplied uh, in that quantity with that quantity. So this is the total amount for each sales. Now, this indicates the product ID here, the sales order ID here indicate that how many times each time it's occur, each time the order occur, the same order ID occur, it shows that this order was made several times, right? We have this order occurring several times.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so we that is the understanding of that table. So each we have the order, the sales order ID occurring several times in the table, indicating that the order, the same order, right, was made several times. All right, so now let's see how we could collapse all of this repeating order. The repeating order, how we can collapse that and make it a one row instead of several rows. For example, here we have this one, 43659, repeating 12 times. 43660, repeating 2
You're not
times.
sharing your screen,
And
no.
oh, again. So we have 43659 repeating 12 times. 43660 repeating 2 times. Others repeating in a number of times as well. Let's see how we can, since this is the same, this is referring to the same thing. Okay, the same order, yes. It's referring to the same order because it has the same product ID. It's just that the order is made several times. So it's referring to the same order. So we can, instead of having it repeating like this, we can collapse it into one row, use one row to represent all of this. And that is what a group by clause does for us. Let's see that. Okay, so I'm going to use the group by. So, say, what column did I use earlier again? Sales order ID. My server is disconnected. Into sales order ID and line total. Okay, now let me run that so I get all of them. Now I can then say group by sales order ID. Let's see. Then I got an error message. Now the error message says column line total sales order detail line total is invalid in the select list because it is not contained in either an aggregate function or the group by clause. In particular, it is talking about this column. Why this column? It's talking about this column that it is not contained in a group by clause and it is not in an aggregate function. Now that brings me to another topic: aggregate functions. Aggregate functions performs a calculation on a set of values. So now let me wrap. You should be familiar, or you might be familiar with this type of functions. You definitely have used them in Excel. So let me say sum line total. Since it is complaining about line total, that it is not, because sales order ID is contained in group by clause, but line total is nowhere to be found. It's not contained in group by clause and is not in aggregate function. Now let me do it that way and let's see what happens. Execute, And then what do you see? You now see that all the repeating columns for 43659 has now been collapsed into one. And then all the line total have now been summed up into a total, a sum total, using the sum aggregate function. Is this clear?
Yes, yes, it's very clear.
All right. So that brings us to the idea of aggregate function. As I said, aggregate functions performs the calculation on a set of values and returns a single value. In this case, the sum function took a number of rows, a number of repeating rows, and then sum all of the values and return a single value. Now, you need to note that you cannot use, whenever you're using a group by clause, the columns you specified that you want to retrieve are either part of the group by or in an aggregate function. Like, for example, if line total is not in sum, if it is not in sum, there will be a problem. So it can be part of the group by, but this might not give us the results that we want, but it will work. You see that it works, but it doesn't give me the results. It grouped. What it did was it grouped all of them, all the rows. It creates a group for this and a group for this, right? It created a group, but it didn't give me the result I want. So if I want it to give me what it gave me earlier, then I will use the sum or any other uh, you know aggregate function. In fact, I could use count. I could say count uh, the line total. The line total, instead of giving me the total for each order, just count how many order was it. If I do that, it's going to tell me 12. Remember that I said earlier when I was examining the table, I said 43659 occurred 12 times. And it's giving me that. It's telling me that that row occurred 12 times. Okay. And now let me ask you, it's showing here that no column name because of as a result of the aggregate function that I use. How can I solve that problem? It's saying no column name is destroying the name of that column. How can I solve that problem? Any idea?
I've forgotten the query that we use. Oh, I know it's not has. I
As
know there was
column
a
alias is as column alias. I'll just give it a column alias.
yes.
Say line total. If I want to use the same name, or I can say is it grand total? What do you use in accounting or something? Let me just use total.
Total sum.
You know, there is sum total, there is grand total. So I think this one should be, oh, this is not grand total. This is total, yes. So if I want to do that, if I want to use sum, I should be using sum if I want to say call it total. Otherwise, if I want to use count, I'll call it
Can
maybe
just use
count or
count
something.
also. Yeah.
All right. So that is how we use group by. So I'll just give you one final example. Okay. So let me just make a copy of that. I'll use an example that showcases all the other, not all of them, but some of the other aggregate functions. So this one, I'll use count line total as, what should I call that? As, should I call that occurrence? Right? Does that work?
Yeah, that works too. Okay, it's the same thing.
Occurrence comes with double arrow or one arrow.
I think there should be DSF.
Double arrow.
Yes.
Hmm?
OCC OCC OURR.
OU.
Yes.
Is there O?
Yes. I think
Are
so.
you sure? No, there is no U. There is
I'm
no
not
O.
told.
There is no O. It is U. The only thing I'm doubting is whether it is double arrow or one arrow. Let's just go on. Okay, so we can also do average. We can get the
Okay, a
average
single
of,
R.
so we can call that as average, right? We can use average. And then we can get maximum. So that will give us a maximum total. So we call that the highest, or call that the largest. And you can also get minimum line total. You can call that the lowest. Okay, oops. And in order for you not to think that we can't combine this with some other things that we've been using before, we can actually do that. Remember, I told you that everything we are learning, we've been learning, they complement each other. We can use virtually all of them in one query. So I can use a where clause here. I can say where some maybe line total. Let me just do one fancy stuff. Line total is greater than some amounts, maybe 1,000, and even group by has we can also filter in group by. So I can say having, we use having. I hope I don't forget now. Having, I need to specify the group. So a group where line total, let me specify a group that has a value above, I only want to see a group that has a value above some values. Maybe 10,000. Groups that has value above that value. And I could also say order by line total from the greatest to the lowest. Let's see. I hope I have not made any error. Oh, so is invalid in the having clause because it's not contained either. A get function, a group reference. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I need to put this. I need to put this. There's some. I need to put that in an aggregate function where some of that. Mhm, uh, and also let me put this. This should also be in some. Or let me remove the where plus first, but I don't confuse myself too much. Okay. Let's see. I think I'm missing out. I missed out on something. I think I'm missing out again. I'm still missing out. It has to be in. So yeah, I got sales order ID 555131 with the total of this occurrences is 60. This is the average of that value of that sales. The largest of which is this. The largest sale that in that group is this. The lowest is this. How fantastic! How beautiful! Look at what we've done. Look at what we've done. That query, although it looked a little bit wordy and a little bit complicated, but uh, it's what the result shows that it is what it. Any question?
For now, no questions.
Now tell me a little bit about uh what you think about everything so far.
I think it's easier to analyze data using SQL because, just like you said, the language is similar to normal English. You are giving it you are writing the query as if you are giving a command to someone in English, and it is way easier in the fact that it can analyze huge data in a very short time.
Mhm.
I
And
find it very interesting and it's engaging. The way you interact with it is very engaging. Even the when you get your error response, it's clear. Like you can really see what is missing and what you need to fix in plain language, not in some how do I say this?
some
Like
other
the
languages
concept,
that
yeah, some other languages that might be complicated that you need to be an expert to understand, and so it's very simple, straightforward, and
yeah,
easier to use than every other thing that I've tried to learn in the
yeah,
past.
that's right. That's right. All right.
So thank you very
So
much.
that is it. You're welcome. My pleasure. Mr. Kwam, are you with us? So um a final note before we call it a day, and it will be obviously the end of SQL. So maybe by tomorrow you'll start Python, or next week with another instructor. But just a note that if you really want to go this part, SQL is very, very fantastic. You have seen, I think the class is just to show you the power of SQL. And we have, in some way, barely scratched the surface. There are so much more that SQL offers. Powerful things that you wouldn't imagine you can get. So if you want to go this part, you will need to learn more. This is not the end. And I've been really working to look at how I could come up with a project. Maybe I'll find time to work on that, so that at the end of this kind of course, you can get something closer to a real world project that you can use SQL to do. So you can, you get an already made data like AdventureWorks, and then you analyze it using what you've learned, to do the analysis. Just to have a real world, to have experience of a real world scenario. Okay, so
Okay.
but basically you need to know that there are more things to learn. There is more. If you want to go this part, there's so much more to learn. And yeah, you learn by doing. You learn by doing more projects, doing things, solving problems. That is the best way to go. All right. So that will be the end of the class. So much for participating.
Okay. Thank you very much. Been a pleasure.
So I hope, God willing, we can talk some other time, or if Allah wills, we'll see each other physically.
Yes, I hope so too. Inshallah. Or
All
if I
right.
have any question, I'll reach out to you. I'll save your number on the WhatsApp group. If I have any question
Yeah, no
while
problem. No
practicing,
worries.
I will just reach out to you.
All right. So just ensure that you do some the assignments. So if I have my ways, I will post a project on this.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
All right. That would be nice. All
All
right.
right.
Thank you very much.
See you some other time.
All right. Thank you. I think you can end the recording now. And
Yeah.